Monday for the holidays. GetRealMonday.com, 150 Whitey Farms Road, Holyoke. See dealer for details.
It's 6:44 at Rock 102. Bax and Nagle Show. Bax out until January 2nd. And Marty Caproni is here in the studio with us. Hello.
Back. Hey, Steve.
Hey, how you doing, Marty?
How's it going, everybody?
Going to be cloudy today. And matter of fact, there's a dense fog advisory going on right now for a while. I don't even know. It'll be another mild day with highs up to around 50 degrees today. But the fog is making for a horrible commute for anybody, even if you're driving home from the holidays or you actually have to go to work today like we do. It's going to suck.
I was crappy drive-in for me, I could tell you that.
Yeah, and you're only, like 3 miles away?
Nah, if I'm speeding, I can do it in 12.
That's not bad.
No,
12.
But today took me like 19.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad from Huntington. The worst part was in Huntington going up the mountain, and once you got over the mountain, then it was fine.
How long does it take you to get in with no bad weather? I know it takes you like an hour when it's snowing. I've learned that.
So get this, right?
All right.
This is a lesson that I should have learned years ago.
Okay.
For years, I would drive from Huntington down Route 20, all the way through Westfield, all the way through West Springfield, onto Agawam, over the bridge.
Yeah.
No Pike, and head up Sumner Avenue, and boom, here we are, right?
Yeah.
That would take about 55 minutes.
Oh, my God.
Like, total, right? Maybe, on a...
You could live in New Haven and drive it.
Right. So then... My late wife had always told me, no, you got to go up through Montgomery and pick up, like, go past where the 7Bs is, and then go up that way and hop on 91 and come down 91 that way. And I'm like, that's
202. That's
I said, that's a bunch of nonsense there.
Yeah.
So then maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, I couldn't go that way because there was a tree down.
Yeah.
So I had to go the other way. Took off 10 minutes of the whole commute. So now I can get here in like 40, 45.
Even when she's
50,
not here
55.
anymore, she's still teaching you.
Teaching me a lesson. Yeah, you should have listened. you dumb idiot.
Could have saved you one work week of hours.
But yeah, it is pretty foggy out there. So just be careful when you're driving out there. Got a couple of different news stories here.
What do we got?
Well, we got 2 fugitive sheep are back in their owner's custody after a brief Christmas Eve escapade through South Boston. A Boston Police Department spokesperson said officers helped corral a pair of sheep that escaped from a local church during a Christmas celebration on Sunday afternoon. I didn't realize they used real animals for these nativity scenes.
Yeah, they go all in, some of these ones. Some of them will get a real baby.
Do they really get a baby?
Yeah, there are some that use a real baby.
It's kind of a unique one, said Boston Police spokesperson Sergeant Detective John Boyle. Oh, gee, a guy named John Boyle on the Boston Police Department.
Who could have thought it?
Around 4 p.m., the officers were alerted to a runaway sheep in the area of Boston Street and helped locate the animals nearby. A video shared on X, which is formerly known as Twitter.
I hate that you have to keep saying that.
It was like Prince when he changed his name to a symbol.
Yeah.
Showed a police officer and several other people cornering one of the sheep near the intersection of Preble Street and Ward Street. We have that sheep in custody over on Preble Street, a police officer says in the video. We'll put him back in the back of my cruiser and take him back to where he's supposed to be. Imagine the cleanup of that after you get the sheep out of the back of the cruiser.
Probably less than what he gets on a Friday night.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, usually you get some guy overdosing, throwing up in the back of the car.
It's livestock smells better. It's probably air freshener.
Yeah, good stuff. So that was one thing on Christmas Eve.
Fugitive sheep.
A bomb threat called into a Marshall's location in Hingham on Christmas Eve forced the evacuation of multiple stores. Police found no explosives during the search of the Marshalls.
Shocked.
You know why? Because a guy, listen, if there's a terrorist out there that's going to blow something up, it's going to be like a bus station. It's going to be like a train station. It's not going to be a Marshall's. Well, they wouldn't accept my gift card. I had to go.
So that was, what that was. That was, if anyone here shopped at a Marshall's or TJ Maxx this holiday season, you know exactly what happened. You're waiting in that line that they they wheel you down that those aisles.
It's a feeder line.
Yeah, you're like a cow at a slaughterhouse.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can never see the end of the line, so they just keep weeding you along the line, and they keep trying to sell you the impulse gifts the whole way. But those lines during the holidays, they go all the way down around the store sometimes.
Oh,
You're like,
yeah,
what's
yeah.
this? They're like, that's the line. That's you got to get in the line. It's an hour in the line. You know, some guy was waiting in that line. He's like, you know what? We're not waiting in this line anymore. Watch this.
It is. I'm going to call it a bomb threat.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden they're like, Register 7's open, Register 6 is open, Register 5's open.
I was in Stop and Shop in Westfield on Saturday.
Nightmare.
And listen, I already knew it was going to be a nightmare before I even went in there.
Embrace it.
And I said, all right, well, I'll grab my last-minute stuff and I'll go to the self-checkout thing. Well, the self-checkout thing, the line was all the way down aisle 5 because they needed room for people to wait.
Yeah.
And they only had like 2 employees working the registers.
It's nostalgic. Takes you back to COVID times. Remember when the lines were all the way through the stores?
What I don't understand, and I know you don't have like the manpower, but you would think put a manager in one of those registers and open this thing up and let's get this thing going.
You would think.
No, they're not. And then there's always somebody standing there like, you could be at a register right now.
Yep.
You could be opening this and pushing us through. But then I hear one guy complain, oh, my God, look at the line in here. It's crazy. I'm like, what did you expect 2 days before Christmas on a Saturday? It's going to be busy. Like, you have to expect that.
I stopped at the Big Y to get gift cards.
Mm-hmm.
That kudos to them. They had every register manned by an employee.
That's what I'm talking about.
I was like, now you're doing things right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you not only have the self-checkout thing, but you got everybody manning the machines.
Right, and I protested the self-checkouts. I had my own little boycott for the longest time because I always felt like that job, working the checkout, was an important job, for kids in high school or college, or sometimes they have developmentally challenged people that are doing that or whatever. And so I was always, out of spite, I would not use the self-checkout. But like everything else, they just break you down. They figure it out. They put one person on the register, and eventually you're like, if I want to enjoy the rest of my day, I need to use the self-checkout thing, Well,
now, if you're tech savvy, you don't even have to go to the self-checkout. You can scan everything in your cart, and then on the way out the door, you just pay for it at the QR code.
They really?
Yeah, it's My Big Y app.
Oh, look at you. You see, you're more technically savvy than I am.
Well, I've known my way around a grocery store, Marty.
I like to see.
Yeah, and
I like to brag. But.
That can be either harrowing or easy, depending on how much shopping you have to do. If you have to do a ton of shopping, I wouldn't recommend doing that.
But 3 or 4 things?
3 or 4 items, you just scan them with your phone. You already got your payment thing in there, and it's attached to your debit card, and you just check out on the way out.
When I was traveling more for comedy, I was out in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
And there was I think it was like a Whole Foods when I was out in Seattle. And this Whole Foods was linked to your Amazon account. And all you had to do
I've heard about this.
was go in and put the stuff in your cart and just wheel out the door.
Yeah.
And it billed your Amazon account for all the stuff in your cart. It was the craziest feeling. It felt like you were stealing.
Right, because you're just walking in and walking out.
Just filling whatever you want in your cart and just wheeling right out the door.
So I read up about this thing, and basically, and what they're trying to do, and they're doing it now with products, to make sure that nobody's stealing them. These RFID chips that are so small and so tiny, that they can identify a product that you're taking out of a store, which is wild to me.
Yeah. But literally that's what it does. As soon as you take it off the shelf, put it in your cart, it knows it came off the shelf.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you walk out the door, it knows it's in your cart, and it knows that you walked out the door with it, and it just bills you for it. It's crazy.
That is.
But it was a pilot. They were just experimenting with that program, and it just happened to be that one that I went to in Seattle.
That's going to be the way of the future now. You're going to have one guy in there trying to, hey, this didn't bill me for the...
Well, I could tell you the other way of the future I didn't like when I was out there. The comedy club was in a place called Bellevue, Washington, which is right outside Seattle. It's like a suburb, but it's a really rich suburb. It's like Bill Gates has a house there, everything else. And it's It's in the first floor of a Microsoft building out there, like this giant skyscraper building. Or whatever. The hotel, when I walked in the hotel, all my lights turned on. It like greeted me, welcome Marty, on the TV, the whole deal, which now the hotels do fairly standard. But the thing that was different with that was the heat and AC, the lights, the TV, everything in the hotel would not work unless you put your hotel key into a slot on the inside of the door after you came into your room. You put your hotel key in, and that's how they regulate people like cranking the heat and leaving their hotel room. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Save money. So that was the first thing. But the second thing was I got up early and I went for a walk. And I'm walking the streets of Bellevue down near the water and everything else. 3 different times I had police pull up to me. And they knew where I came from. And they were like, we're just asking why you're out here walking around. And, you know, I wasn't trying to give the cops a tough time, you know. Yeah. But I was like, I finally just said to the cop, I go, why is everyone, like, how do you, he's like, well, this whole street, everything's all on cameras.
Okay. So if it's all on cameras, why are you asking people where they're coming from?
Because what happens is whatever the program was that they had, this Big Brother thing, it identifies that and then sends it out as suspicious behavior.
You know, I was just talking about this the other day with some friends. Remember that movie Minority Report? With,
it's kind of like that.
This is exactly what's happening. Like, and then one day they'll accuse you of crimes you didn't even commit.
Well, I was having this conversation yesterday with my cousin. We were talking about AI. Yeah, you know, and my little cousin is a computer guru. He goes to Rochester for computer stuff. And we were talking about AI, and I said, I used to laugh when they said AI is a great threat to humanity because I was like, well, what are you going to do? Put it in a Roomba? I just kick it down the stairs, you know, and just go about my day or whatever. And they had the robots, and you could see the robots on the internet, and they were like, they look like a humanoid, but they have a huge backpack, and they would fall over and stuff like that. And they were slow, and I was like, this thing never got a chance against me or any other human being. We just outsmart it and push it down a flight of stairs. But I just saw a clip. I got to find it and show it to you on YouTube. Of these robots now that they have. It's only been about 5 years' time since I remember those clips. Yeah. The robots they have now, they look humanoid. They can run at a full pace like a human being. They can do backflips, front flips.
Yeah, it's crazy all this stuff they can do.
I'm like, we are literally at the beginning of a Terminator movie. Like, we're right at the beginning of the thing now. And no one's like, yeah, this is a little threatening. You know
it's a little strange, but no, we don't really care. We just kind of
go about our day, and it's not until one day that.
How come you didn't tell us about this?
Right. Yeah. Right. It's not until one day that happens.
Did you ever see the movie Don't Look Up with Leonardo DiCaprio? It came out a couple of years ago. It was on Netflix.
What was it about?
It's about basically an asteroid ready to hit the Earth. And there's 2 groups of people on the planet. Somebody who's, they're like, no, we gotta believe. And then there's like, don't look up. Just don't look at the sky.
Yeah, he's the professor. I know the one you're talking about now.
It's kind of like encapsulates how we are as people going, we're not gonna,
I remember because he was going on morning shows and stuff like that, giving interviews. He's a scientist, but they're like, he's like trying to tell everyone the world could be coming to an end. And everyone's just like, so you're like the new It thing, huh? Yeah, everyone loves you. I was like, yeah, that is a perfect social commentary.
Well, it was like that whole Dr. Fauci thing. It was basically like how they idolize that guy and put him out of like, oh, he's like the new spokesperson for health and all this other stuff. And
then it all comes out after.
Oh yeah, sorry, I might have fudged some numbers or two,
a couple of 2-3 numbers.
Numbers. Hey, we got more of this great morning show that you're listening to coming up after 7 o'clock because we're running out of time this hour, so we gotta move it along.
All right.
But it is 6:58 with Bax and Nagle and Marty Caproni on Rock 102. Rock 102, Springfield's classic rock. It is 7:44 in the Great Steppenwolf on Rock 102. Your Pioneer Valley forecast today. Dense fog this morning, so be careful as you're driving through that. High of 49 for today. Tomorrow, rain with a high of 47. It is 32 right now in downtown Springfield. Bax is out on vacation. Marty Caproni's here in the hot seat.
That's it.
That's it.
And, I'm not even plugging my own little comedy show, Steve.
Yeah, why not?
I don't know. For those who are listening and who are interested, this Thursday we're doing something different. Maybe you've heard of it. We're doing a $20 dinner comedy show.
What? What?
I know.
Is this something
crazy?
new?
It's crazy.
How do you get a bargain like that?
Do you know when someone messages me and they say that, they go, is that thing going on? I'm like, do you not listen to the radio or use Facebook?
To be fair, there's been some mixed messages of weeks that you haven't done it because of a holiday.
There was only, in 52 weeks, there was only like 2, and that was the holidays for Thanksgiving.
Right. Well, you're doing it every Thursday.
But we're doing it this Thursday.
All right. Thursday night.
So get your tickets in advance if you want it for $20 or $25 at the door. You can definitely just shoot me a message, and I'll send you a Venmo code. But it's going to be fun, and we're doing it this Thursday.
All right.
Yeah.
That sounds like I've never heard of that before, but I trust you.
It's a darn good time.
Believe that you. Winter. We haven't had much of a winter lately.
No.
No snow, no ice.
Not saying I miss it either, to be honest with you.
And I'm kind of wondering what this guy was thinking. Cruz in Williamsburg responded to a not Virginia.
This is Williamsburg here, yeah. Okay.
Responded to a man falling through ice while skating on Saturday afternoon.
Oh, my God.
It's not even cold enough. Everybody knows that.
You're a dummy.
According to the Williamsburg Police and Fire Department, the two guys, at 12:45 p.m., emergency crews were dispatched to Briar Hill Road near the Beaver Pond for reports of a skating incident. When crews arrived, they located a man 400 feet from the shore who fell through the ice and was up to his chest. The Goshen Fire Department deployed their rescue boat along with 2 responders who were able to rescue the man. Officials said the individual was brought back to shore where he was transported to a local hospital with minor injuries. What are you thinking going out? It's not.
It was like 50 degrees the other day.
The temperature needs to be below freezing for at least 2 weeks before it's safe to walk out on many bodies of water, and even that is not that safe.
Unless you're up there in Williamsburg and you're bored, there's nothing to do ever. You know what I mean?
Well, maybe I'll just drink a couple of natty daddies here and then get this ice skating thing going.
Strap these skates on and see what happens.
Let's do it.
You know, the thing that really bothers you is, the first responders that have to show up there, the fire department or whatever, with their boat and put it in the water and do all that. It's like, are we really doing this today for this idiot? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Standing there.
I don't know. I think sometimes those guys like to deploy their toys that they got from the town.
This is true.
Come on, let's show everybody how we can inflate this thing and send it out to the guy and bring him back in.
There is nothing more that a volunteer fire department loves than a call in their town.
Oh, yeah.
Get that red light on the dash. They're like, let's go.
Let's go. We can blow through all the traffic lights that we don't have in this town.
The one traffic light.
We don't even have a traffic light in Huntington.
You don't, do you? No, you do. Don't you? At the downtown right there, or is that a stop sign?
That's not the downtown.
It's like 4 buildings.
No, it's just a stop sign.
Oh, okay.
But years ago, when they were redoing the bridge, you know how they you know how they rehabbed the bridges by just putting paint over them.
Yeah.
So they closed it off for like 1 lane, and then so they had to put one of those temporary traffic lights in.
Oh yeah,
and you
I
had to wait on one side and
then
then go through the other. Well, some guy years ago got really, really drunk and decided, I'm just gonna lay my foot on the gas as soon as that light turns green. And he did, and when he did that, he lost control on the others. By the time he got to the other side of the bridge, he lost control, and he knocked out a power pole, and he hit the Verizon building, which houses the ISDN line for a lot of the people in town. They were without internet for like a week because of that.
That's the downside of living in a small town like you live too. Because if you make one jerk, like if I make a jerk move in Chicopee, no one knows that I made that move. Who knocked out power? No one knows. Just some car that was on Broadway hit a pole, whatever.
Yeah.
But if you're
Small town.
Huntington. You're like, did you hear what Jim did?
Yeah, it was one of those things where everybody
Right.
knew the guy, and that was the highlight of the. I don't even remember when that was, but I just remember it happening and having the power be out for like an extended period of time while they fixed this whole thing.
It's hilarious.
As the final, this is I'm reading the stories on 22 News over the holiday.
What did they see?
Oh yeah, well, I'll tell you, this was on Christmas. As the final hours of Christmas pass, some sit down for a big feast while others grab a bite elsewhere. Whether you're celebrating this holiday or getting ready to end the party, Chinese food is a Christmas staple. There appears to be big business at Chinese restaurants all over the country on Christmas, and Western Massachusetts is no different. 22 News stopped by Golden Chopsticks in West Springfield, where they were busy filling orders over the... Oh, my God! You wouldn't believe what we saw! We saw a person taking orders and then telling them 10 minutes, and then they hung up the phone. And then people would come in 10 minutes later and pick up their food. It was crazy.
Newsworthy.
I was watching the Polar Express with my kids the other night on Christmas Eve, and I'm just laughing about that kid because that's the model, that kid that gets on the train, the one who talks like this all the time.
Yeah. You have your ticket for the train? I guess you don't. Santa's not going to give you a gift.
Right.
That's the voice you read all your.
That's how my
WWLPs.
that's how my when I first saw that movie, well, not the first time I saw the movie, but watching that movie and then realizing what the 22 News crew saw, that was exactly what they would sound like. The little annoying kid on a train. So this goes in. The manager of the Golden Chopstick says, usually I'd like to say around 40 orders per 30 minutes. That's a lot.
Yeah.
40 orders in 30 minutes?
That's those walks are good though. They cook fast.
Yeah, we have several third-party platforms, especially the DoorDash is the most popular. Were you here when we were talking about the DoorDash thing last week?
No.
With Red Rose? Red Rose doesn't do DoorDash. They don't open.
They don't need to.
They don't have to.
If they did.
But somebody set up a fake DoorDash account saying that they were Red Rose, and people were putting in orders, sending money to the guy or whoever it was doing it, and then the DoorDash guy was showing up. All these DoorDash people were, I don't know if the DoorDash people were, something happened where the orders weren't there because they never got them. They weren't part of the process.
They weren't even sending counterfeit pizza.
No.
They were.
So but then they try to get in contact with DoorDash, and they're like, this isn't a legit thing, but they leave it up.
Oh, of course.
Like to see how many more
they're making
people
commissions on it.
Yeah, they're making money off the whole thing. DoorDash. I had Chinese food. What was it? Friday night.
Yeah.
I went my favorite place, which is the Peacock Chinese over here on Allen and Cooley Street. That is
Peacock Chinese?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been there for probably 30 years or more. Great place. They're just redoing the inside of it now. And it looks like a brand new restaurant in there.
Well, I love Kiyomi in Chicopee on Grattan, right? But there's also one in my old neighborhood where I grew called the Great Wall.
Yeah.
On Brett Road. And they texted me yesterday.
The Great Wall did?
Yeah, my phone goes off. I got a text. I'm like, oh, it must be like one of these Merry Christmas texts or whatever. I open it up. It says Merry Christmas. And it's like, Merry Christmas, this is the Great Wall. You 10% off your order if you ordered today. And I was like, what great marketing.
We're here for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but great marketing. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, that it is. So I don't know why. Is it because they're the only places that are open on like a Christmas day? Is that what the deal is?
You know, friends of mine that are Jewish, that's like a tradition in their family. On Christmas, they go out for Chinese.
Oh, that's
like their tradition. They do that. So, pretty smart marketing if you're a Chinese place to be sending out texts on Christmas. Just, hey, just letting you know, 10% off if you want some Chinese food.
It's good. It's real good.
It is. Listen, I love Chinese food's like one of those things that you got to be in the mood for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but did you ever have like bad dreams after eating Chinese food?
The MSG?
The MSG, like you start having like sword fights in your stomach. You know, it's like you're doing all kinds of crazy stuff in these very vivid dreams.
What's your go-to Chinese order?
All right. Well, usually I love egg rolls.
Okay.
Egg rolls are my favorite, and they have to be made a certain way.
Yeah.
Like they can't be like, you can always tell some of these like tiny little places they're frozen. I want the handmade ones.
Yeah.
And this Peacock makes a damn good egg roll over here. egg rolls and lo mein, like any kind of lo mein,
Chicken lo mein
chicken or
with the
shrimp
mushrooms in
or
it?
beef or whatever. I like
Okay.
any kind of lo mein, and that's pretty much it. The other thing I like about this Peacock place is they got golden fried shrimp balls. Now,
My gout just hurt just thinking of it.
But there's there's seemingly no shrimp in them.
It's just the batter.
It's the batter around
It's like a golden fingers the same way.
but it's a pork ball.
Yeah.
It's like there's pork, and there must be like seafood in there. There must be like some
Somehow.
kind of shrimp
Right.
meshed up in there. But they are so freaking good.
Well, it's the duck sauce. That's the secret.
The duck sauce,
Salt
is the
and
one.
sweet. You have the sweet duck sauce, the salt of the fried food, whatever it is, the chicken fingers or the shrimp or whatever.
Right.
It's the best. I was thinking more of you were an entree guy. I always got the chicken broccoli. That was always my go-to.
Chicken broccoli is
Chicken
good.
broccoli or orange chicken.
Orange chicken is
Yep.
pretty good.
But
like
I
that.
always have to have the dumplings
Oh, I love the dumplings.
with that sauce, whatever that sauce is that you
Yeah,
dip the dumplings
it's
in.
almost like a soy sauce, but it's not.
But they treat it like it's gold, like it's plutonium or something. They only give you like a little teeny. They don't give you enough for the dumplings, so then you got to ask for the extra sauce, and it's all awkward.
Oh man, we're gonna have to go eat Chinese food now soon.
We got a list of things this week. We got to go to the barbecue place in Long Meadow. There,
Long Meadow.
Fletcher's. We were
Fletcher's.
talking about that.
Yeah.
We got to go there.
What time's that open?
11:30. I pulled it up to look for us.
That's so late.
What's that?
Yeah, we can do 11:30.
Yeah, we got to do the barbecue place. That's
Yeah.
at 11:30 for a little lunch. We could do Chinese. If we're gonna do Chinese, we should go to Kiyomi.
I'd like to try it. I've never had it before.
Oh
Yeah.
boy, buddy!
Is it a sit-down place or is
Oh
it
yeah,
just
sit down. He's got a little bar there and everything. It's awesome.
All right. Well,
So we could do a
definitely-
little Kiyomi. We could do a little Fletcher's.
Well, you know what, Marty? I'm really glad we got to the down and dirty of the after Christmas spirit and talking about Chinese restaurants for the last 10 minutes.
Leave it to me to be the
Yeah.
one to inspire a conversation about food after the biggest eating holiday of the year.
You know what I like on my lo mein?
What?
Ketchup. Nothing but ketchup.
Yeah, see,
Yeah. And-
now you're
yeah.
just instigating me because
Oh,
you found a food that I don't think ketchup belongs on.
I like Chinese food, but I also like
You do not. You're lying.
white trashy American
You're
style.
like-
We'll put a ketchup all over it.
You're like, there's no ketchup on lo mein. No one does that.
I do. I put ketchup on lo mein. I drown it. I drown my chicken fingers in the ketchup.
Everyone knows ketchup belongs on a hot dog or a hamburger.
No, it doesn't.
You don't put ketchup on a hamburger?
I put a ketchup on a hamburger,
Okay.
but not on a hot dog.
Why not on a, why do you draw the line there?
Because there's something disgusting about it. It doesn't sit right with me. Are we going to have this argument again? We've talked about this at length. You really want to have this argument?
I mean, I kind of do.
Yeah.
And I got to be honest, the response of people who are pro ketchup hot dog has been overwhelming comparative to you're a child if you have ketchup on a hot dog.
Well, we're running out of time, but would you put ketchup on your lo mein? How about lo mein with hot dogs?
Oh, come on.
293-1021. It's 7:57 with Bax and Nagle and Marty Caproni on Rock 102.
At Leah Nissan.
Rock 102, Springfield's classic rock. It's 8:12 in the Rolling Stones on Rock 102. You have Bax and Nagle. Bax is out until January 2nd. Marty Caproni is here filling in. And your Pioneer Valley forecast today going to be cloudy with a high of 49. There is some dense fog that's still out there. That should be lifting pretty soon, though. So just be careful if you're out on the highway. It was pretty thick this morning. Tomorrow, rainy with a high of 47. It's 32 right now in downtown Springfield. Doesn't it seem weird we haven't had like a winter?
No, but I don't miss it.
I don't miss the snow at all, but I also don't like we're going to get into that season now because we haven't had snow. We'll get icy weather, and it's like
The
that
worst.
crap. It was the thing that I showed you the video that I slipped a few years ago.
Yeah.
You know, you walk outside and it looks like it's just rain.
Where
but
you
it's
can't
like
shovel it away, but yet it's all slushy
yeah, it's a
ice.
sheet of ice. So there you go.
I still think back to us last February coming in here in a snowstorm where it was like 9 inches of snow or 8 inches of snow, and we came into the studio. It was my first real introduction to the magic of radio, where we were sitting on here warning everyone to stay in their house and not coming out.
Yeah, don't come over here.
Yeah, meanwhile, the two of us had to risk our lives to make it in here just to warn people not to go on the roads.
Well, that's the age-old, that's what we do here in the
That's what we
broadcast
do.
business.
Yeah, well.
I remember years ago they made us, I had to stay in a hotel. I stayed at the Hilton Garden Inn.
In downtown Springfield?
Because of the impending doom that we were here to, and the guy that we had working here was like, we need to make sure that we're like, we're the prepared weather station. And I'm like, yeah, why don't you, even a guy coming from downtown Springfield could die very easily coming up Long Hill Street, in Springfield.
And they're always the ones that say that, but then they're at home.
Yeah, that's the one.
In front of the fireplace.
Oh, well, that's what you do when you're sitting in your...
I'm not on air, I mean...
I don't have to go in.
Non-essential.
I can do all my work from home. I don't know if you saw this. A wild turkey crashed into a power line in southern Sacramento on Christmas Eve, leaving more than 4,000 properties without power, though it has since been restored. The Sacramento Municipal Utility District... or the SMUD, if you will, said 4,200 of its customers lost power around 12:15 p.m. Pacific time on Sunday following the bird strike, with those impacted in the neighborhoods that they're showing out there. Workers were swiftly sent out to fix the damage, and no power outages were continuing as of 26 past the hour of midnight.
On a bright note, free turkey. For someone who found that already
delicious
cooked
turkey. That happened up in Northampton. I was doing a wedding. I was scheduled to do a wedding, and the wedding had to start late because a squirrel got into one of those substations up there. And of course, it's hot out. It's summertime. Need the air conditioning, and the food obviously needs to be cooked. So they couldn't do anything while this power outage. The squirrel got in and blew the whole thing. The power company said the impacted areas would be rerouted through another circuit and forecast it would be restored, and then they got it back on. But this is no different than my dad with a wild turkey having a blackout on Christmas. That was
how many wild turkeys caused blackouts in your family?
Half a bottle. That's all it takes. It didn't take very much. You just the 101 proof, not the regular turkey bourbon.
I remember my father warning me against drinking wild turkey, and it was him and his friend down at the boat. I grew up in the summers. My parents had a little boat down in Chester, Connecticut, and my dad was like, "Hey, you can't drink the wild turkey." Tell him what happened with the wild turkey guy. Some guy got hopped up on wild turkey, like Block Island or something, pulled out a sawed-off shotgun and just started shooting up boats. Didn't hurt anyone, but it was...
We're skeet shooting out on the lake.
It was all amped up on wild turkey. So in my head, I've always thought, like, Marty, you can't drink the wild turkey because you end up shooting up a place or something.
You'll be shooting a boat from half a mile away going,
right.
Is that a seagull?
Right. That was the first one. The other one was my dad used to have this stuff called White Lightning in the liquor cabinet.
Yeah.
And it was like in a jar.
Yeah.
He's like, you don't drink that. It could make you blind. And I was like, what? It was real moonshine.
Why are you having it?
That's what my thought was.
Yeah.
Then why is it in the liquor cabinet if it could make you blind? But I think my dad was like, well, it could make you blind. But for me.
My dad had one of these things where he would go away for, I don't know if it was a week or maybe just a long weekend. But we lived in New Jersey, and he'd hook up with this coworker of his, and they'd go camping down in the hills of West Virginia, like on a fishing trip. Yeah. And he'd always come home with a jar of that stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember him who's hiding it under the cabinet so my mother wouldn't find it. And I was a little kid, and I'm like opening up all the cabinets, like, what's this stuff? Don't touch that. And I'm like, this is him just getting crocked on a Sunday afternoon, just taking a couple of hits of that here and there.
My dad used to do it with his buddies. They'd go hunting in Vermont, and they'd never get a deer, but they'd always come back real slow on Sunday. They'd be real slow and hungover on Sunday.
This is what I think about the guys who hunt.
Yeah.
I mean, there's guys out there that really get into it. They really want to. I want to
paint their face, cover themselves in deer urine.
Yeah, we're gonna have deer heart for breakfast on Christmas morning. Yeah. Like we're gonna do all this stuff. But then I think, what it is that's only like a small percentage of the population of hunters that are really into it, looking for that trophy animal, right? And then the rest of them are just like, yeah, we're sort of into that, but we're also really into getting blackout drunk before we go do it. And that's why they don't come home with anything.
Yeah, in the woods with their friends. They probably don't even – I used to think that after. I was like, I wonder if the gun ever even left the bag. You know what I mean?
Never did. Never did.
No.
I've told this story before where my brother used to take – when I was you lived in upstate New York. My dad bought me a shotgun for a birthday. That was the gift. And but that's how you learned about gun safety and all that stuff. You learned how to
I had my first
fire.
BB gun at 9.
Yeah, and then I had to take a hunter safety course to make you come more comfortable with firearms. Don't point them at anybody, even if they're not loaded. All that kind of that good stuff. And but I really didn't like the idea of going out in the woods at like 5 o'clock in the morning and waiting for the sun to come up in order to then wait to maybe have a chance with an animal that would walk by your path. Well, my brother takes me. He's like, oh, we're going to take you hunting. I got my license. We go out to this like state property up in upstate New York somewhere. All of his buddies are there. There's probably maybe a dozen of us, right? And we all spread out.
Just enough to cross-shoot each other?
So, and I'm wearing sneakers.
Oh, that's good.
In the snow and the woods. And all of his friends are like, oh, what are you going to do? Sneak up on the deer? that kind of crap. So so I was like, yeah, haha, whatever. I go out. I sit by this tree. It's 5:30 in the morning. And it's freezing cold outside. And I'm all bundled up. I got gloves. I got hats. I got all the things you need. Denoting yourself to be a hunter, and then by 6:45, the sun's now wide up, and I'm like, you know what? I don't feel like doing this. So I took the gun and I pointed it into the snow, and I just fired once, waited a couple of seconds, fired another one. Because I wanted them to think that I chased a deer. Oh, the one got away. And I went back and I sat in my brother's truck for the rest of the 3 or 4 hours that they were out there. And then they all went to the bar and got drunk anyway. Yeah. So it wasn't like, it was any kind of that's not fun. That's not fun being out in the woods at that hour of the morning.
I knew I couldn't hunt. My father knew I couldn't hunt. I loved shooting targets. I still like, going on the range. Like, I like shooting guns. I'm a guy, know. But I was such a pansy at the thought of taking anything's life. You know what I mean? That my father was like, you're not going to be a hunter. It was like, there was no way. Because when I was a kid, I remember we used to go fishing. My parents had a campground up in Colebrook. And my father took us fishing. I caught this giant bass. And we brought it back. And I didn't think we were killing the bass. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, look at the fishy. We're going to go release it in the pond here at the campground. And my grandmother, my father's mother, who was just a tough woman, just takes a huge machete out, lops its head off right in front of me. I still was like so traumatized. And my mom was like so furious with her. And she's like, he's got to learn sometime. And I was like, it probably was a mommy fish, and it probably had baby fish.
It had a family. It was. She was supposed to graduate tomorrow.
Yeah. And I had a whole backstory about the fish. And I remember,
she was putting herself through school.
I remember I distinctly remember the look in my father's eyes of just utter disappointment that this was his son.
This is my pansy kid.
This is my pansy kid who can't kill nothing.
Toughen up, kid. Right. Go get that wild turkey out of the cooler and start. Let's have a real fishing trip here. It's 8:23 with Bax and Nagle, and Marty Caproni will have more in just a little bit here at Rock 102.
Bax and
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 8:37 in Leonard Skinnerd on Rock 102. Bax and Nagle show. Bax is out on vacation. Marty Caproni is here. We're doing a light morning show. We're not doing all the crazy stuff that we normally do. But your Pioneer Valley forecast today is going to be cloudy with a high of 49. Fog lifting right now. There was a dense fog advisory out there. Tomorrow, rainy with a high of 47. It's 32 right now in downtown Springfield. What's up, Marty?
Not much, Steve.
I'm just reading some of these stories here that happened over the Christmas holiday.
Yeah, what do you got?
A man in eastern Germany dressed up as Santa Claus had his driver's license confiscated overnight after crashing into the facade of a house while trying to deliver gifts around the town of Mulhausen.
Das Mulhausen?
The sloshed Santa was on a central street in the town of around 36,000 people, not far from the town's church, when he lost control of the vehicle and hit the front of a house and a parked car. The house facade was seriously damaged. However, the Christmas gifts belonging to the Santa Claus were undamaged, police wrote, only referring to the suspect as the St. Nicholas-inspired bringer of presents, in quotation marks. A passerby saw the crash and alerted police. At the subsequent traffic checks, it became clear that Santa Claus was absolutely incapable of driving, at which point Santa's ongoing journey was curtailed and a blood sample was taken. Police said they confiscated his driver's license and initiated investigations on suspicion of drunk driving. They did not note like how badly the man failed the blood alcohol test. Like they didn't put those details in. Nevertheless, the Santa Claus did announce that the gifts would be delivered the following day. Presumably on foot at that point. Or maybe a little assistance from a helper or two. By German traditions, that would make his delivery a day late, with typical people exchanging gifts on the evening of December 24th. In that spirit, Merry Christmas, and remember, even Santa Claus must drive sober.
You know, I thought he had the reindeer for that.
To drive.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
They're the
he
ones
doesn't
that
have
are they're the ones that are running the sleigh.
He could be out there drinking, eating milk and cookies, and just letting them handle the business.
I don't know if you call your Volkswagen Rudolph, though.
Too close.
This was
Too close.
Well, Rudolph built it. Das Drunk.
Das
Drunk. Yeah, Das Hammered. Yeah.
Can you imagine seeing that? Just driving by and you see Santa out there with one leg up in the air trying to touch his red nose.
Yeah, can you touch your nose? Can you walk in a straight line down this line?
Sir, you appear drunk. Your nose is a little red. No, that's fine. That's what they thought. Rosy cheeks, red nose.
You know what it is? It's all these imposter Santas giving the bad name to the real Santa out there. That's the tragedy of the whole thing. But yeah, that's what's going on in Germany. There's another thing that I've been reading here. More strollers are sold for furry companions than infants, and perhaps yet another sign of the country's declining number of births. This is South Korea. This is they're referencing to South Korea's largest online marketplace reported Monday that sales of pet strollers exceeded those of baby strollers for the very first time this year. According to G-Market, the total numbers of strollers sold on the platform during the first 3 quarters of this year, those for pet animals accounted for 57%, while those for babies constituted the remaining 43%. This situation marks a notable change from previous years, where pet carriages made up 33% of total sales in 2021 and 36% of last year. Baby carriages previously had a larger share in both years, 67% in 2021 and 64% last year. I wish I had saved the stroller to and talk about how much you could have gotten for it now.
In my neighborhood, there's a couple of people that one lady walks her little dog in a stroller. There's another lady who walks a big dog in a stroller, and then there's a lady who has 2 cats in a stroller.
All right, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the dog, when you take the dog for a walk, the walk is really the benefit for the animal versus the human that is pushing a stroller with the animal in it?
It's a new world, Steve. It's a new world. Now you take your cats for a walk.
Yeah, I'm not taking my cat on a leash.
No.
Are you telling me you're going to put a pussy cat on a leash? Sometimes you have to because they get so feisty. You walking around with a pussy cat tethered to your body? Have you ever?
I'm just thinking of the letters.
Yeah, well, we get letters all the time. I don't know what to tell you.
We get mail.
But was your Christmas as good as the Santas that crashed into the facade of a house out in Germany?
No, I don't drink on Christmas. Someone I was recently talking to, and they were perplexed when I said I don't drink around the holidays.
Yeah,
but like my family doesn't really drink at the holidays. Like, my cousins might have like a couple beers, or my brother might have like a beer or two. But I don't drink around holidays. I never have.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, because I always felt like, if you're gonna drink, you do that with your friends because you can get drunk and tell your friends what you really think about them,
You know,
and it doesn't become a family ordeal.
my dad never got that memo.
No,
That was like,
you guys-
well, it was drinking all year long, but it really ramped up on Thanksgiving and Christmas. Like those were the two, and Easter too. You know, we threw Easter in there.
I
as
never
well.
wanted my kid to experience that either. You know what I mean? I don't know if my kids ever see me drunk. Maybe once,
Yeah,
twice. You know what I mean?
that's a good thing.
Yeah, but I feel like that's what you're supposed to do. But apparently everyone else just throws that right out the window on the holidays. Everyone gets hammered.
Listen, man, that was part of my culture growing up. Like we all knew when Dad would start making the rum cake at 3:00 in the morning, most of the rum would be gone in his belly by the time it went into the cake.
And then you guys, okay, it's half in the pan, half cooked.
This is what he used to do. He used to get up on Christmas morning, right?
Yeah.
At 3 a.m. It was one of these guys that could just get up at any
It's the
time of
railroad
day.
life.
Yeah, it was a railroad life.
Yeah.
And he would make this rum cake that he eventually submitted to the railroad company cookbook.
Oh, okay.
You know, they had one of
They
those.
had a cookbook?
Well, they had one of the. You know how these companies, they try to build morale by like, yeah, you send in your favorite recipe. So he puts his recipe together. It called for this ungodly amount of rum. Like most rum cakes, you're using maybe a half a cup to maybe a cup if you're really going for the thing. This was like a half a bottle of rum. So much so that in that, what do they call it, a bunt pan? The round, it's the round one. You cook it in and you flip it upside down.
Cake in it,
He couldn't flip it upside down because there was so much liquid in the bottom of it by the time it was done that he would just sit there and do shots of the sugar-flavored of the rum at the end, like straining it out.
We had two entirely different childhoods, Steve. Entirely different childhoods. I can't. Like I'm grossed out even thinking about that.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
And and you guys would eat the rum cake?
Well, you'd eat like the top portion of it because you couldn't eat the bottom portion because it was just that's all it was pure alcohol. They say alcohol cooks off in the oven.
Not
Not
much.
when you have like a gallon of it in there. That doesn't. Maybe the top portion cooks off.
Then
but
you
not
get
the
pulled
whole.
over. It's like, how many beers do you have? 2 pieces of cake.
I had 2 pieces.
Two pieces of cake.
You got me 2.
Maybe that's how Santa got drunk in Germany. Maybe he stopped by the Nagle house and
Listen, man, there were some nights there where I'm sure had Santa had hung out for an hour or two,
it would have been real rough.
He would have gotten a DUI leaving the house.
I'm curious how many people are like me and how many people are like you. Like how many people their holidays are based around like everyone gets drunk, or how many their families don't really drink.
We had a very quiet Christmas. I had some friends over on Saturday.
Yeah.
I had some family over yesterday, but it was like we were just sitting around watching movies and listening to music, and kids are playing with their new stuff that they get for Christmas, and it was actually a pretty nice time. I don't have those dysfunctional Christmases I had when I was a kid anymore.
Yeah, see, like ours were always like fun. Like if it's like we already know we're doing like Thanksgiving. If it's the weather's warm, all the guys are going outside and hitting golf balls into the woods.
Yeah,
that's like the thing.
Yeah, that's
just go out there. The guys just go out and drive golf balls into the woods. The girls, whatever the new baby is or whatever, they play with the baby or whatever. Then the guys go back in, eat, go back out, hit golf balls.
Yeah,
call it a day.
That's how
watch a little football.
That's what the holidays are all about. Hitting
Yeah.
golf balls into the woods on Christmas Day.
Right. Well, Christmas depends on the weather, but now we're getting a Christmas now where it's 40 or 50 degrees.
I always thought it was so weird when I would go to like Florida for Christmas, like to visit my mom, and it was like palm trees and the weather was
Couldn't
like
do it.
80 something degrees. No, it was actually kind of cool because it's like, wow, it's like this little tropical paradise, and they got Christmas lights up, which is kind of neat.
Yeah, but
Every once in a while.
yeah, you can't.
But then now it's becoming like that here. Like the temperature is not getting as cold as it used to be. We used to always almost have snow on Christmas Day.
And now everyone's like, I wish it was a white Christmas. I was like, I'm cool with it because I'm also a last minute shopper. You know what I mean? You got to, run around, fill your kid's stocking or whatever. So you're running to the store, this or that. I don't want to be driving and sliding all over the road doing that.
No,
a nice 40,
no.
50 degree day. This is nice.
Yeah, that's the way we do it around here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But nobody got hurt It was a very quiet Christmas.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
See what it's like when your dad's not there getting drunk, making drunk rum cake?
It was just one of those things where he used to yell at my mother. He would like start cooking something. Let's say it's a turkey or something, and then he'd put the turkey in the oven, and then he'd pass out from drinking all morning long. I have these. I gotta tell you, man. I got these home videos, right?
Oh God.
My brother back in like the late '90s. He starts making money, and he's like, I bought you guys a video camera for Christmas. That's
so
when,
you carry this trauma with you for generations.
So I'm probably like 19 years old, and I don't know who was taking the video, but my dad's in the video, and he wore the same sweatshirt every year that my sister made him when she was a teenager. It says Bah Humbug right across the top of it, and it was... He'd sit there with his little, VO or Grand Marnier or one of those,
classy Christmas drinks.
Classy Christmas drinks, and he'd sit there, and then he would cry. Like, if you gave him, like, a pen, this is the best. And he would start getting emotional, like the emotional drunk, and then he would just pass out. But he didn't tell anybody what time he put the turkey in the oven or what time it was supposed to come out or when you had to baste it, because he was in charge of that. And then when he would wake up from his drunken stupor 4 hours later, he'd be yelling at my mother for burning the turkey or drying the turkey out because she was supposed to do this. And he never told anybody. Yeah, I know. She was a saint. I don't know how she survived that whole...
My only Christmas tradition with my father was my mom would do all the food and everything. We're Italian, so it would always be like lasagna and meatballs and this and that. But my father's job was always to go to Pat's, IGA in Holyoke, in the flats of Holyoke, and get the potato salad and the cold cut platter. And every year, that was his only job. And every year, it would be like some harrowing tale how he just made it to get there. But when I think back on it now, I'm like, I'm pretty sure he probably had no problem getting it. But he passed, because it's Chicopee, you pass about 8 bars on the way there from Burnett Road to Holyoke. He probably stopped in at every one and had like, hey, a little Christmas cheer with this person, that person, this person, that person. And that's probably why there wasn't a ton of drinking at the holidays at my house, is my father probably did it quietly. I've just never, I don't know what it is, but the holidays aren't... Like if I'm gonna drink, it's usually because I'm with my friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not even that I can anymore. I don't tip them back like I used to.
I can't do it, man. I just that's just not a lifestyle.
When I started comedy, though, you remember the two of us could. Oh
man,
boy.
That was the worst part about a lot of these
Bud
clubs.
Lights and whiskey. And
and that was the worst part about these comedy clubs is like for all the money they didn't pay you.
Open bar every night.
Open bar,
every night.
You could get quite a few drinks down the hatch before the end of the show.
I used to explain that to my friends because they couldn't wrap their mind around it. I'm like, but just imagine that every weekend you went to 2 weddings with open bar.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was like.
Now, add in Thursday and Sunday, you have 4 open bar weddings. You really got to pick your spots. You can't drink at that pace.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just can't do it.
And these big name comedy clubs, they're making money anyway because they're charging $20 for the martini. So what's it going to cost to feed the fat comedian?
Well, they just bring you stuff, whatever you want. They just bring it to the green. The only tradition that I used to have when I was doing the road a lot with Jessie May, we'd get off the plane, travel, use a nightmare or whatever, and Thursday night was a tradition that we had 2 tequila shots and 2 Heinekens, regardless of what we had the next morning or whatever. And you'd have to do morning radio, which means they pick you up at the hotel at 5 a.m. And sometimes you have those couple of tequila shots and a couple of Heinekens, and you have one more whiskey and Coke up on stage and another one. And you'd be in the radio station, like falling asleep while they're trying to talk to you.
2 tequilas.
Yeah, I hate tequila. I hate it.
I can't stand it either. I don't know how people drink that.
But that was her thing. We're good. 2 Don Julio shots, 2 Heinekens. And I don't like Heineken as a beer.
Well,
it's like a milkshake.
milkshake. I always thought it tasted more like a skunk.
It doesn't taste. It's the consistency of a milkshake, but it tastes like skunk.
Yeah, and it smells like skunk too.
Yeah,
They used to call them green grenades.
German and Mexican, two of those things, and then that's how you start your weekend.
Yeah, no, that's not a good way to start anything off.
Right. So then Friday you wouldn't drink because you'd still be like, ugh. And then Saturday you'd be like, I can't, I'm still tired, whatever. And then Sunday, if you were doing the Sunday show, you'd be like, all right, let's have a few. Yeah. And then you got to travel.
Then you got to go back on
Monday morning, and you're just, ugh.
Why did I do that again?
Yeah.
Well,
can't do it anymore.
We've all been there. We've all been there with that kind of thing. But you got anything else for this break here?
The only other thing I was going to say is if anyone's listening, because people are asking, I did have a few people buy tickets already for Thursday's show because the Christmas show went great. We are indeed doing a show Thursday at Loft Comedy Club. It is indeed $20.
Well, there you go.
If you buy in advance. And you should definitely come out to it. It's a nice pre-warm-up for your New Year's celebrations.
All right, I'm sorry. I come across these news stories, just as we're about to walk away from this little thing, but I can't let this one go. Dukes of Hazzard actor John Schneider calls for public hanging of Joe Biden, right? The deleted social media post was also called for the execution of Hunter Biden, led to some wonder if Schneider could be charged. Finally, showing the true colors of the General Lee. You're coming out and you're just showing everybody what you really are. We're all thinking, no, it was just a TV show. We didn't embrace that kind of mentality.
Do you think right when he was hitting send on that tweet, everything paused and this voice came out and it was like, now, we knew it was a better idea than sending this tweet out.
Yeah.
But Bo and Luke.
Yeah. He's going to have a crap storm from the public like you wouldn't believe. Yeah.
Oh, we can get them Duke boys out there.
So I didn't even read the story. I just had to read those first two lines.
Headline.
And I'm like, all right, he's on the cancel culture train right now, so good for him. It is 8:55. It's Bax and Nagle with Marty Caproni on Rock 102.
Bax and Nagle.